You're listening to the Extraordinary Everyday Podcast with Wendy Johnson, episode number 66.
Welcome to the Extraordinary Everyday Podcast, where women come to be inspired and motivated to become the best version of themselves and elevate the quality of their everyday. Now, here's your host, certified life coach, Wendy Johnson.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'm so excited to be with you today. Today, I want to explore wisdom that's hidden in our daily life, that when we discover this, we can make our life better. Today, we're diving deep into a book that has touched my life and the lives of many people all over the world, and it's called Loving What Is by Byron Katie. This book is about embracing reality as it is and transforming our relationship with our thoughts, which are often the root of our pain. I'm really excited to explore its powerful messages with you today. So let's get into it. If you've ever found yourself frustrated, stressed, or upset by something that seems unfair or wrong in your life, this episode is for you. Loving What Is offers a simple yet very profound way to reduce suffering and find peace. No matter what your circumstances are, you can use the contents of this book. Loving What Is based on a method Byron Katie calls the work, which consists of 4 simple yet incredibly powerful questions. The idea behind the book is that our thoughts, not our external circumstances, are the primary source of our suffering. Katie teaches us how to question our thoughts in a way that can help us see the world with fresh eyes and ultimately find freedom. So what's the work? It's a process of self-inquiry that consists of asking yourself 4 questions whenever you're feeling upset or anxious about something. I pulled this book from my bookshelf to reread and to practice. I found myself this past week frustrated with a sale I was making of a dresser on Nextdoor. And the woman came and purchased the dresser, but left the dresser and took the drawers with her. And I had a dresser with no drawers sitting in my hallway for over a week. And as I found myself frustrated with this situation, I thought of this book. So let's go through the 4 questions. And then I want to go through examples of how you can utilize this with your stress and frustrations. So the first question is it true? You are asking yourself if the thought that's causing you stress is absolutely true. The second question is, can you absolutely know? This one's tricky because it invites us to reflect on whether we can be 100% certain about our assumptions or beliefs. The third question is, how do you react? What happens when you believe that thought? Here you're exploring the emotional and physical impact of holding on to that belief. And finally, the 4th question is, who would you be without that thought? This question challenges you to imagine how your life might change if that stressful thought didn't exist. These questions may sound simple, but the results are life-changing. They help us realize that much of our suffering comes from unquestioned beliefs and thoughts that may not even be true. Now I want to talk about breaking down these 4 questions a bit more because they're really at the heart of her entire method. The first question, is it true, forces us to pause. How often do we just accept our thoughts as fact without ever questioning them? For example, if you're thinking, they don't appreciate me at work, is that really true? Have you gathered all the facts, or is that thought based on a feeling you're projecting? The second question, can you absolutely know it's true? Goes even deeper. Sometimes we can't know the absolute truth. There are always different perspectives, different factors we might not be aware of. This question creates space for uncertainty, and with that space comes a sense of relief. The third question, how do you react when you believe that thought, is all about noticing our thoughts shape our emotions and actions. When you believe the thought, they don't appreciate me, how does that impact your mood? Do you withdraw? Do you get defensive or anxious? We begin to see how the thought controls us. And finally, the fourth question, who would you be without that thought? Opens up the possibility of living free from that belief. Imagine letting go of the idea, they don't appreciate me. How would you feel? More peaceful? More open? The idea is that by letting go of these painful beliefs, we create more room for love, acceptance, and joy. After answering the 4 questions, Byron Katie suggests what she calls a turnaround. This is where you take the original thought and reverse it or find its opposite. Now let's stick with the example that we started with. They don't appreciate me. A turnaround might be, I don't appreciate them. I don't appreciate myself, or they do appreciate me. The turnaround invites us to explore different perspectives, and often we find a deeper truth. Maybe instead of focusing on how others don't appreciate us, we realize we haven't been appreciating ourselves or the people around us. Turnarounds can feel uncomfortable at first, but they challenge us to see things in a new light. When we see things in a new way, it brings us a lot of insights. I want to share some additional examples of turnarounds. Let's take the original thought. My partner doesn't listen to me. One turnaround would be, I don't listen to my partner. This invites you to reflect on whether you truly listen to your partner's needs. Another turnaround, I don't listen to myself. And the third turnaround, my partner does listen to me. Challenge yourself to find evidence of times when your partner has listened to you. Another example, I'm not good enough. Turnaround number 1 would be, I am good enough. Find examples of moments when you have been proud of yourself. Turnaround number 2, I'm not good enough for myself. Explore the possibility that your inner critic is the one holding you back, not an external standard. And turnaround number 3, I'm more than good enough. Challenge the belief by considering that you may be overqualifying your worth or downplaying the accomplishments you've earned in your life. Next example, let's take the original thought, they shouldn't treat me this way. Turnaround number 1 would be, I shouldn't treat them this way. This allows you to examine if you're projecting behaviors onto others that you might engage in yourself. Turnaround number 2, I shouldn't treat myself this way. Could you be internalizing this thought and being harsh towards yourself? And turnaround number 3, they should treat me this way. While this thought may be challenging, this encourages you to look at what you might learn from the situation. Maybe there's something valuable in their behavior that is helping you to grow. Another example is with the original thought, life is unfair. A turnaround number 1, life is fair. Consider where life has been fair or even generous to you. What has gone well? Turnaround number 2, I'm unfair to life. Reflect on whether you might be focusing on the negative and ignoring the positives in your life. And turnaround number 3, life is neither fair nor unfair. This opens up the idea that fairness may be a concept we impose on life, but fairness just is. It's neutral. And the last example I want to give you is with the original thought, I'll never succeed. The first turnaround would be, I will succeed. Look for times when you have succeeded, even in small ways. Turnaround number 2, I'll never fail. Consider that failures are stepping stones to success and that every failure brings growth. Turnaround number 3, I've already succeeded. Recognize areas in your life where you've already achieved success, even if it's not the way you imagined it to be. I hope these turnarounds will give you good examples of how to reframe your thoughts and explore different ways of thinking and different perspectives. I think doing this practice and writing out thoughts and writing out turnarounds can help you explore and find more wisdom in how your thoughts are creating your emotions and how your emotions are triggering the actions that you're taking. So I want to leave you with a few core themes from Loving What Is that I'd like to highlight. The first is acceptance versus resistance. One of the main ideas in the book is that our suffering comes from resisting reality. When we argue with what is, we lose 100% of the time. Acceptance doesn't mean being passive or giving up. It's about fully facing the truth of the moment and finding peace, no matter what the reality is displaying. Second theme, thoughts are optional. We often act as though our thoughts are facts, but Byron Katie reminds us that thoughts are not necessarily true. They're just stories we tell ourselves. We can choose which thoughts to believe and which to let go of. And the third theme, and this is a big one, Katie, Byron's work teaches us that we don't have to change our circumstances to find peace. Instead, we change our relationship with our thoughts, and that's where true freedom lies. And there are obstacles to practicing this work. It isn't always easy. Questioning beliefs that you've held for a long time can feel uncomfortable or even scary. We've spent years or decades building our identity about certain thoughts. So letting them go can feel unstable. It's also very challenging because our minds naturally want to hold on to our stories. Phrases that you think, they don't appreciate me, I'm not good enough, life isn't fair. These are all stories that keep us stuck. But when you practice this method, it becomes easier to detach from them and find peace. The key is to have patience and compassion with yourself. You don't have to get it perfect right away. Start small, and over time, this practice can bring profound shifts. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with this thought. The power of loving what is lies in its simplicity. It's asking yourself 4 questions and answering those questions and looking at them from different ways. It's about accepting reality and questioning the thoughts that cause us suffering. When we do this, we can create more space in our everyday for joy, peace, and love. I encourage you to give the work a try next time you're feeling stressed or upset. Ask yourself those 4 questions and see what happens. You might just find that peace is closer than you think. It may be one thought away. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love to hear about it. Have you tried the work or read Loving What Is? If so, what was your experience? Feel free to share your thoughts with me on social media or through email. And if you haven't read the book yet, I highly recommend checking it out. It's a good book if I'm reading it for a second time. As always, if you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, rate, and review the Extraordinary Everyday Podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. Your feedback helps the show grow and reach more listeners who, like us, are searching for ways to make life a little more extraordinary. Thank you so much for tuning in today, friends. I'll see you next time for another episode where we'll explore more insights that help us find more meaning and beauty in our everyday life. Until then, take care and remember, you have the power to transform your own world one thought at a time. Hey, if you enjoy listening to this podcast, you have to come check out More You, my community of like-minded women. We show up to create the highest version of ourselves and elevate the quality of our everyday along the way. Head over to ontracklifecoaching.com/join. That's ontraclifecoaching.com/join. I'd love to see you in there. And if you haven't grabbed your copy of the Mindset Makeover, head over to ontracklifecoaching.com/makeover and get a copy that teaches and inspires you to show up as your most extraordinary self.